The quarterly board meeting of Palmer Manufacturing was proceeding exactly as it had for the past 30 years, with absolute certainty in their own superiority. I sat quietly in the back of the room, ostensibly there as a learning experience while my father Richard Palmer held court. "And that concludes our third quarter projections," he announced, straightening his custom-made tie. "As you can see, traditional manufacturing values continue to prevail." I suppressed a smile thinking about Nova Ventures, my venture capital firm that had quietly become the most influential player in modern manufacturing technology. Not that anyone in this room knew that. To them, I was just Emily Palmer, the disappointing daughter who'd wasted time getting an MBA instead of learning the family business from the ground up. "Speaking of tradition," board member Jenkins spoke up, "perhaps Emily could share what she's learned from her alternative career path." My mother, Patricia Palmer, shifted uncomfortably in her designer suit. 3 years ago she'd called my decision to attend business school a slap in the face to generations of Palmers. I'm sure we all remember the argument. My brother Thomas smirked from his position as CEO. "What was it Dad said? You're throwing away tuition on theoretical nonsense while real business happens on the factory floor." My phone buzzed silently, a message from my real executive team. "Due diligence complete on Palmer Manufacturing. Financials worse than expected. Ready to proceed with Operation Legacy?" "Business school has been enlightening," I said softly, thinking about Nova Ventures' latest fund closing at $4.2 billion. "I'm learning different perspectives." "Different perspectives don't keep assembly lines running," my father declared. "Right, Thomas?" Thomas beamed, adjusting his Patek Philippe watch. A gift for supposedly saving the company's Asian division, though my analysis showed it was actually hemorrhaging money. "Exactly, Dad. Real business is about hands-on experience, not fancy degrees." I opened my deliberately modest laptop, which contained more computing power than Palmer Manufacturing's entire IT infrastructure, and quietly began reviewing Nova's latest acquisition analysis. "Emily, my mother tried for diplomacy. Perhaps it's time to reconsider your path. There's still a position in operations management." My phone lit up with another message. Palmer Manufacturing's loan applications being rejected across the board. They'll need capital injection within 60 days. "Shall we begin positioning?" "Actually," I started, but Thomas cut me off. "Don't bother, Mom. Some people aren't cut out for real manufacturing. Emily can keep playing with her little investment projects while we run a real company." The little investment projects had transformed 3 major manufacturing companies in the past year alone, generating returns that would make Thomas's precious watch look like pocket change. "Speaking of real companies," my father interjected, "we're about to announce a major modernization initiative. The board has approved a significant capital raise." I took a slow sip of water, knowing exactly why every bank in the city had suddenly become hesitant about Palmer Manufacturing's loan applications. Nova Ventures' market analysis had quietly circulated through financial circles, highlighting the company's technological obsolescence. "The funding is practically secured," Thomas added confidently. "Just a few final details to work out." "Really?" I couldn't help asking. "Which banks are you working with?" My father frowned. "That's confidential information, Emily. Though I wouldn't expect you to understand the delicacy of such negotiations." "Of course not," I murmured just as my phone began to ring. The caller ID showed Executive Office. "Excuse me," I said, standing up. "I should take this." "Probably her student loan officer," Thomas stage whispered, earning chuckles from the older board members. In the hallway I answered the call. "Yes. Miss Palmer." My senior partner's voice was crisp. "The markets are moving exactly as predicted. Palmer Manufacturing's credit rating was just downgraded. Their only viable option will be private equity or venture funding." I glanced back through the boardroom's glass walls, watching my family continue their self-congratulatory discussion. "Proceed as planned," I replied quietly. "Let's see how they feel about theoretical nonsense when they need my signature to survive." "Understood. We'll begin approaching their board members individually tomorrow. Your father won't know what hit him." I ended the call and returned to my seat, where Thomas was in the middle of another boast about his hands-on leadership style. "Of course, some people understand real business," he was saying, while others hide in classrooms and read case studies. The classrooms had taught me more about modern manufacturing than Thomas had learned in 10 years of wandering factory floors. The case studies had helped me build a venture capital empire while they clung to outdated methods. "Tell me, Thomas," I said casually, "how's the Asian division's real cash flow?" He blinked, thrown off by the sudden question. "Excellent, of course. We just reported record profits." "Really?" I opened my laptop again, this time accessing Nova's Real Analytics platform. "Because according to this, you're losing $2 million a month and hiding it through creative accounting." "What are you talking about?" my father demanded. "Those numbers are solid." "Those numbers," I cut in, "are as outdated as your manufacturing processes. But then Palmer Manufacturing has always preferred tradition to truth." The room fell silent as my family processed this unexpected challenge. Board member Jenkins leaned forward, his eyes suddenly alert. "Ms. Palmer," he said slowly, "what exactly are you suggesting?" I smiled, watching the clock tick closer to the moment when their carefully constructed world would shatter. "I'm not suggesting anything," I replied. "I'm just wondering if anyone here knows who Nova Ventures is." Thomas scoffed. "That venture capital firm that's been buying up manufacturing companies? What about them?" "Their managing partner is making an interesting announcement in about—" I checked my watch, 15 minutes. "You might want to pay attention." The next 15 minutes in Palmer Manufacturing's boardroom transformed 3 generations of family dynamics. I remained seated, watching multiple screens as my relatives and board members frantically checked their phones and tablets. Breaking news, Financial Times flashed. Nova Ventures reveals strategy to revolutionize traditional manufacturing, Palmer Manufacturing named as prime target. "This has to be a mistake," Thomas sputtered, his expensive watch catching the light as he nervously adjusted it. "We're a private company. They can't just—" "Can't what?" I pulled up a detailed financial analysis on my laptop. "Can't expose how your record profits in Asia are actually massive losses? Can't reveal that your modernization initiative is 10 years too late?" My father's face had turned ashen. "Emily, what have you done?" "Me?" I raised an eyebrow. "I'm just a business school student who doesn't understand real manufacturing, remember?" Board member Jenkins was staring at his tablet in horror. "Our credit lines. Every bank has pulled out. The capital raise was never going to happen," I finished for him. "Your financials are worse than you think, and everyone in the financial world now knows it." My phone buzzed continuously with notifications as the news spread. Manufacturing giant faces crisis as Nova Ventures reveals true financial state. Palmer Manufacturing's modernization plans called into question. Wall Street stunned by hidden losses in Asian operations. "The Asian division," my mother whispered. "Thomas, you said—" "He said what you wanted to hear," I interjected, standing up to move to the head of the table. "Just like he's been doing for years. The reality is that Palmer Manufacturing needs a complete overhaul, technologically, operationally, and culturally." My phone lit up with a message from my executive team. "Major shareholders calling. Board members requesting private meetings. Media circus beginning." "Business school," my father said suddenly, his voice hollow. "All those arguments about wasting tuition taught me exactly what I needed to know," I nodded. "While you were mocking my theoretical nonsense, I was learning how to value companies, spot inefficiencies, and build something better than what Palmer Manufacturing has become." Thomas lunged for his phone, probably trying to reach his accountants. "This is a hostile attack. You can't just—" "Can't what?" I interrupted coolly. "Can't apply modern business analysis to expose outdated practices? Can't use my education to see what you've been hiding behind tradition?" The security feed on my tablet showed chaos erupting throughout Palmer Manufacturing's headquarters. Executives rushing between offices, phones ringing non-stop, reporters gathering at the main entrance. "Dad," Thomas turned to our father, panic in his eyes, "what do we do?" He sat slumped in his chair, decades of certainty crumbling around him. "Emily, surely we can discuss this. We're family." "Family." I laughed softly. "Like when you told me I was betraying the Palmer legacy by going to business school." Or when Thomas spread rumors about my lack of real-world experience to undermine my credibility. I opened my briefcase and pulled out a stack of documents. This is Nova Ventures' preliminary offer. We're willing to inject the capital you desperately need, but there are conditions. Conditions? Board member Jenkins asked, already reaching for the papers. Complete modernization of all facilities. New management structure. Full technological integration. I paused, enjoying the moment. And yes, those MBA-driven metrics you've been mocking will be implemented across all operations. Wait. Thomas called out desperately. What about my position? The Asian division. Will be thoroughly audited, I replied. Though you might want to update your resume. I hear entry-level positions in modern manufacturing facilities are quite educational. My father stood up slowly, his eyes meeting mine with a mix of shock and dawning respect. You built Nova Ventures? While we thought you were just studying. I built it because I was studying, I corrected. Unlike some, I believe in understanding business before trying to run one. My phone buzzed again. Messages flooding in from extended family members suddenly interested in my career choices. I forwarded them all to my assistants except one from my grandmother. Your grandfather would be proud. He always said the family needed new blood and new thinking. The boardroom fell silent except for the constant ping of phones announcing Palmer Manufacturing's unfolding crisis. Board members sat frozen, watching their comfortable world of traditional manufacturing crumble in real time. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just success. It's success that proves every dismissive comment wrong. The revolution in manufacturing had arrived, and my family had front-row seats to their own transformation. The real future of Palmer Manufacturing was just beginning, but under very different leadership. And somewhere in the building, a brother was learning that sometimes the biggest threats don't come from obvious competitors, but from the sister whose education he mocked. The aftermath of my revelation transformed Palmer Manufacturing's headquarters into ground zero of an industrial revolution. I sat in what used to be my father's office, now my temporary command center, watching multiple screens track the company's transformation in real time. Ms. Palmer, my assistant appeared with the morning briefing. Your brother Thomas has given another interesting interview to Manufacturing Weekly. Would you like to see it? I nodded, and the main screen filled with Thomas's increasingly desperate attempts to defend his leadership. His Patek Philippe was conspicuously absent, likely sold to cover personal guarantees on company loans. Traditional manufacturing values will prevail, he was insisting to a skeptical reporter. These modern metrics and AI systems can't replace hands-on experience. Our implementation teams have completed the initial audit, my COO reported during the morning executive meeting. The situation in Asia is even worse than we thought. Thomas wasn't just hiding losses, he was creating fake orders to inflate revenue. My phone hadn't stopped buzzing since Nova Ventures' announcement. From Dad, please reconsider the management changes. I'll give you any position you want. From Thomas, the Asian partners are asking questions I can't answer. Help me. From Mom, your father hasn't slept in days. We're family, surely we can find a compromise. I forwarded most to my legal team except for one from my old college professor. Saw the news. This is exactly why I encouraged you to challenge traditional thinking. Show them what modern business leadership looks like. The security feeds showed the ongoing transformation throughout the facility. Old assembly lines being retrofitted with smart technology. Manual inventory systems replaced by AI-driven logistics. Thomas's precious corner office now a digital command center. Your father is here, my assistant announced. He's alone. I watched on the security feed as he walked through the modernized factory floor, his eyes taking in the changes with what looked like a mixture of awe and fear. Gone were the deafening machines and chaotic workflow, replaced by precision robotics and synchronized systems. Send him up, I said, turning to face the floor-to-ceiling windows I'd installed to replace his oppressive wooden walls. He entered quietly, looking lost without his usual entourage of yes-men. Emily, this is impressive. This is just the beginning, I replied, gesturing to a chair. How's Thomas handling the audit? He sat heavily, looking older than I'd ever seen him. He's struggling. The Asian partners are threatening legal action. His wife's family is asking questions about their investment. And you? I asked, watching him carefully. He was quiet for a moment, looking around what used to be his domain, at the advanced technology, the real-time analytics displays, the clear signs of progress he'd resisted for so long. I've been reading about modern manufacturing, he finally said. About the technologies Nova Ventures has implemented in other companies. While we were celebrating Thomas's fake successes. You were celebrating what you understood, I finished for him. Manual processes, traditional metrics, hands-on management. Your grandfather, he continued, his voice catching slightly, he always said the company would need to evolve. I thought Thomas's superficial changes were enough. But this. He gestured at the screens showing real-time production data. This is real evolution. The business school education you mocked? I smiled, pulling up Nova Ventures' transformation metrics. It taught me to see what Palmer Manufacturing could become, not just what it was. My phone buzzed. Another message from Thomas. The auditors found everything. Please just tell them I'm your brother. I never understood. My father started, then stopped. We never saw. No, I agreed, standing to walk to the window overlooking the factory floor. You saw what you expected to see. The daughter who challenged tradition. The one who dared to suggest there might be better ways than how we've always done it. The afternoon sun streamed through the windows, illuminating a manufacturing facility that was finally entering the modern era. Nova Ventures' influence was already visible in every corner. What happens now? He asked quietly. I turned back to face him. Now we make Palmer Manufacturing what it should have been years ago. Those who can adapt will stay. Those who can't. I shrugged. There's always room for line workers who want to learn new skills. He actually smiled at that, a small, sad expression. And Thomas. We'll have to decide if he's ready to learn what business school could have taught him years ago, I replied. Starting from the bottom this time. My phone lit up with another market alert. Nova Ventures had just announced a revolutionary manufacturing AI platform. Our stock jumped another 20%. You know, my father said, standing slowly, I remember when you first asked to go to business school. I thought you were running away from real work. I didn't realize that I was running toward the future. I finished. Sometimes the best view of a company's potential comes from outside its walls. I walked him to the door, past rows of engineers and data analysts who were reshaping manufacturing while Palmer Manufacturing had been clinging to the past.